then at a certain point, really what you're doing is capital allocation. So you're not. It's not money for personal expenditures. What you're doing is capital allocation, and it does not make sense to take the job of capital allocation away from people who have demonstrated great skill in capital allocation and give it to an entity that has demonstrated very poor skill in capital allocation, which is the government. You can think of the government essentially as a corporation in the limit. The government is simply the biggest corporation with a monopoly on violence, and where you have no recourse. Okay. So how much?
I mean, that's pretty great. First off, Elon Musk, just pull up the picture of him real quick. Here we go. It is a fine line between meth addict and richest man in the world.
He looks like a digital recreation. Like he's already uploaded himself into a computer, and like they somehow are showing us like a 3D projection of him.
I mean, just replace the word government with Jews and give him a tiki torch. And this guy fits in perfectly. Oh, man. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to rip at him because he actually said something really great there. But that was a really powerful moment. And it's pretty incredible to see someone with such a high profile, with so much wealth and influence, saying, I don't know, something that sounds like you might hear on Part of the Problem, perhaps. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Who could argue with that? And I love statements like that are just statements, like it's just statements of fact. He didn't say, there's really, if you think about it, there was almost no editorializing in that comment. He just said, look, what we're dealing with here is allocating resources. And who would you like to allocate resources? Someone who's got a proven track record of doing a very good job with that, or someone who's got a track record of doing a very poor job with that? And he said, what is government other than the biggest corporation with a monopoly on violence? Right? Were those his exact words? A monopoly on violence? So. Play that again, the very last part of it. Did he say monopoly on violence? Did he give Pete Quinones' documentary a shout out?
You can think of the government essentially as a corporation in the limit. The government is simply the biggest corporation with a monopoly on violence.
Okay. All right. So let me say this. I'd say if I wanted to nitpick, a monopoly on violence is not exactly correct. Okay. Because if you want to say a monopoly is the sole provider of a good or service, then no, okay, the government does not have a monopoly on violence. Other people can be violent. And, there's hey, Kyle Rittenhouse was violent and he got off, right? Because his violence was deemed correctly to be in self-defense. And other people, even if they don't get off, commit violence, like criminals commit violence, right? And so you could say that, oh, well, the government has some competition there. I mean, sure, the government can tax people, but there's also muggers. And so there's their competition. Other people are also in the same industry of committing violence, even not self-defense, right? Like even like aggressive violence, the initiation of violence. But the government does, if you want to be technical here, have a monopoly on the legal initiation of violence against peaceful people. That's really, to be just a little bit more precise than my rich friend Elon Musk, that's really what the government is. The government is, if you want to call it a corporation, I would just call it an organization with the legal monopoly on the initiation of violence. So no one else can initiate violence against peaceful people legally, but the government can. And so it's very powerful for someone like Elon Musk to say that. But I will say that when I see something like this, and I don't know about you, Rob, But when I see something like this, and this has been blowing up, particularly across my Twitter world, maybe the algorithm's been showing it to me a lot, and people have been tagging me in this all day long. But I have mixed feelings when I see someone like Elon Musk say this. Now, on one hand, I'm pleased because, you think, hey, this is Elon Musk. This is, if not, the wealthiest, up there with, I think he goes back and forth with whether or not he's the wealthiest person, but up there, top few wealthiest people in the world, a very powerful, very influential person saying a very powerful truth. And that's great. I think it's important for people to speak the truth. So I think that's really great that he would say that. But then on the other hand, when someone like Elon Musk says some shit like that, do you get what I'm saying with this, where you're like, well, come on, dude, then fucking help out a little bit, do something, like if you get this, you didn't just figure this out on your own. So, I'm just saying, Elon, then really lean into it. If that's the case, then, the Mises Institute or the Mises Caucus or one of us, I'm just saying, just a measly $100 million could really go a long way. That's all I'm saying, Mr. Musk. 100 mil. That's all I'm asking for. You wouldn't even notice it if you gave that up. Just donate a cool 100 mil to the Mises Institute or the Mises Caucus. 50-50. 50 mil to them, 50 mil to the caucus. That'd be fine with me. And we could really let a lot of people know about that truth that you just, dropped on whatever interview this was. So there's my message to Elon Musk. You're right. You're not quite precise enough, but you know what? You're getting there, and we want $100 million.
You're Koch brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, but they got corrupted along the way. So
I'll preach electric. I fucking hate gas cars. We got to go to Mars tomorrow. Upload our intelligence into computers. Put things into pigs. Microchip everybody. I'm on board, Elon. More things up in space.
I'll tell you, I thought I was trying to make a sale, but you really leaned in. Okay, Rob will shill for you. And this is included in your $100 million donation. That's all we're asking for.
But only if he acts now. It's a limited time only.